everybody, I'm Dr. Bass. Welcome back to my channel where lessons lead to sound impressions. Class is now in session. So, in the last lesson, we went all the way up to 7th position, okay? Just below traditional thumb position, which I promised I would touch on today. All right, so I want to get that going for today. And also, before I get too far into things, I want to talk about something that I haven't talked about in a little while, but it's so very important. Okay? Let's talk about tuning. Let's talk about tuning. It's very important to tune before all your scales and all your practicing and all your arpeggios and playing your pieces. It's extremely important because it builds good ear training. Okay, you're training your ear to listen because it's all about listening. So I have with me right now something that I use, a strobe tuner. You can get any tuner you want. You can download them on your phone, on your computer, on your tablet, anything you can do. But I want to show you what I do. And I normally have the tuner in front of me, but I want you to see what I do. And I tune the open strings. I used to tune the tuning harmonics that are over here. Harmonics are simply notes that when you touch a string instrument and you bow it or pits it, it produces not the fundamental, but it produces a higher pitch in its harmonic or overtone series. Okay, so I don't tune those anymore because they could be sharp or flat. So your best bet and your your safest bet is to tune your open strings, And this is why I have a pickup going into there. Because of all the noise going on, it won't hear anything except me, okay? So let's see how I do this. I think that's okay. I don't want to be here all day trying to tune, but it's very sensitive. So once you get to a certain point, it's okay. It's close enough. A little flat. I think I'll leave that. I think I'll leave that as well. Okay? So it's very, very important that you tune your instrument before each time you play. Okay? It's a nice little pro tip. So, let's explore going into thumb position. And we're going to start off with the G major scale, okay? The G major scale, and then we'll go to its minors, but we're going to first explore getting in and out of thumb position, Okay? So let's see what that sounds like and looks like. Because it just does this and then it goes right back. Okay, you can do that with basically any of the scales that start on open strings. You could do that. I'm going to show you something a little different, a slightly different fingering. I like to call a finishing fingering. Let's see what that looks like. G major. Now we're already in thumb position. But something else happened as well that you may not be aware of. I'm going to turn 90 degrees. You see, when we go into thumb position, there are two entities that must converse with one another, okay? The thumb and the shoulder. When we go in and out of thumb position, these two parts of your body must converse with one another. Trade, okay? Remember when we were talking about the relay race? Okay, so over here, the thumb has it. The thumb is at the back of the neck. When we go into thumb position, the shoulder takes over for the thumb, and the thumb joins the other fingers on the fingerboard. Okay? So just want to let you know that. When we come out of thumb position, the thumb says, I'll take care of this shoulder. The shoulder backs up. Okay? But when the thumb goes into thumb position, the shoulder says, I'll take care of this. And the thumb goes away and acts like the other fingers and less like a supporting agent. The shoulder here is a supporting agent. Just like the thumb from half position all the way up to 7th position. The thumb acts as a supporting entity. Okay, without the thumb, it would be very difficult to press down on the notes. Okay, we need the thumb to do that. Okay, once the thumb is not there, we still need something for our fingers to go against and the instrument to go against. So now we have the shoulder taking the place of the thumb. Okay? Let's play that G major scale one more time and see what the conversation is over here. See what the relay is. Let's see that. higher scales that will come after the G scales. Okay? Let's go on to G natural minor. G natural minor. Transition will happen. On certain notes, that transition will happen. Okay? And you'll see that with other scales as well. Let's go with G melodic minor. G melodic minor. And that rounds out all the G scales. Now, let's go on to the scales of A flat. And we're going to go with A flat major, going into thumb position. Okay? We still have the finger before the shift shifting, and the finger after the shift simply achieving its destination. Okay? Let's go with A flat natural minor. A flat natural minor. And you know something? I'm going to turn 90 degrees. See this conversation. A flat natural minor. that rounds out the A flat scales. So let's explore the A scales, starting with A major, and let's see where the conversation will go or will take place. Out the A scales. Now, let's look at the B flat scales, okay? And now we're going to be getting into scales that at this point between B flat and C sharp, it's going to be the same fingering, basically. It's going to be the same fingering. And I'll show you. Let's start with B flat major. See what's going on with that. Now we have the second tetrachord being played in one position, in no shift. The first tetrachord, we needed a shift, but the second tetrachord we didn't. Okay? Try it again. as low as E flat over here. Okay? One more time. Natural minor, B flat, natural minor. Steps and whole steps are in a different place. So if you have to shift a slight bit to make the whole step between B flat and A flat and between A flat and G flat, do so. Here it is, the upper tetrachord. So if your hands aren't large enough to make the distance, it's okay to shift a little bit. It's okay. B flat harmonic minor. Now the distance between G flat and A natural, that's far over here. It is far. So if you have to shift, go ahead and shift. If that's what you have to do personally, because your hand's a little smaller, go on ahead. Okay? Go on ahead. Let's go on with B flat melodic minor. B flat melodic minor. That rounds out the B flat scales. Now, let's check out the B scales, starting with B major. How about B natural minor? B natural minor. How about B harmonic minor? And this one I'll give you the other view. To see where the conversation happens. Harmonic minor of B. And lastly, B melodic minor. And that rounds out our B scales. Now, let's go on to the scales of C. Okay? C major. How about C natural minor? See what that sounds like. And see where the conversation takes place. How about C harmonic minor? And I'll give you the front view for this. And lastly, C melodic minor. C melodic minor. going to the scales of C sharp, starting with C sharp major or D flat. They're both in harmonics. C sharp, D flat. How about C sharp minor, natural minor, C sharp natural minor. How about C sharp harmonic minor? C sharp harmonic minor. And now, C sharp melodic minor. It's raining here, so it's really humid and things aren't catching, unfortunately, but we'll make it work today. We'll make it work today. C sharp melodic minor. And that takes care of all of our C sharp scales. Now, let's explore the scales of D. Now, let's move on to the scales of E flat. The scales of E flat. Let's see what they sound like. E flat major. And that rounds out all of the E flat scales. So, we've learned a lot today. We've learned from A flat all the way up to E flat. Their major scales and their minor counterparts. With this fingering, you now have the tools to play 2-octave scales. And don't be afraid to play some of these scales on the other strings, okay? Don't be afraid to do that. Because, for example, once you know the fingering for C major, down here, you know the fingering for G major. Now, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but this string is tuned a little differently, just a little differently than normal, okay? So my G happens over here, okay? Normally G would happen over here, but I have to personally transpose, okay? And I'm using a different instrument. If I was using that instrument, I wouldn't have to transpose, okay? But like I said before, the point is, if you know C major, you know G major. It's the same fingering, just 1/4 lower, okay? And the same thing goes for playing on the G string. If you know the fingering for G major going up here, then you know the fingering for D major going up the D string. If you know the fingering for A flat, which we just did, going up the G string, then you know the fingering for E flat going up the D string. And if you know those fingerings on the A string, as opposed to playing B flat major, you can do it up the A string. It's the same thing. Same thing, B flat up here, same thing as A flat over here. If you know A major going up the G string, then you know E major and B major. And if the string were tuned like this instrument, F sharp major going up the E string. So I encourage you to explore, of course, tuning properly and using a drone for your intonation to build your ear, to strengthen your ear. Okay? So, I have just one more thing to go over in this lesson. Now, there have been all kinds of questions and controversy about vibrato. And I'm here to try to clear some of that up. Okay? So, the rule about vibrato is the giggle before the jiggle must wiggle. Wait a minute, that's not quite right. Let me see. This is it. Okay, this is it. Jimmy made Timmy's Himmy shimmy. No, that's not quite it either. My writers got me the rules. I'm firing my writers. Okay. So, in all seriousness, nothing will jiggle, nothing will wiggle, and nothing will shimmy. All this will be done in a controlled fashion. Okay? All of this will be done in a controlled fashion. And for this, you will need a metronome. So let's go get one. Hey, we're back. And I now have my trusty metronome. Now, you can get a standalone metronome, or you can download one to your phone, your tablet, or your computer. Okay? So let's go all the way down to to 40. And there's a reason for this. Make sure that's loud enough. Pick any finger in any position on any string. And we're going to do a controlled back and forth to build the roots of a really nice vibrato. And what you're going to do is you're going to, let's say we'll take the, for this purpose, second finger. We'll start on the second finger in half position on the G string. Vibrato is a distortion of a pitch to add expression. Now you notice in all of my other videos, I did not use vibrato, and that was on purpose because I wanted to introduce it the right way. Vibrato is also a small muscle task. People use the arm to vibrato. I don't think so. I think vibrato is a small muscle task. The arms will move, but it should not generate vibrato. It will move residually, but it will not generate vibrato. Let's see what happens. Let's see why that is. Vibrato is done where you have the original pitch, but then you rock back and then back up to the original pitch. So in this case, second finger, A natural, on the G string, in half position. Vibrato is like a trill, okay? This would be 1/2 oscillation per beat at 40 clicks per minute. That's 1/2 oscillation per beat. Now, let's put that in vibrato terms. That's 1/2 oscillation per beat. Let's add another 1/2 oscillation to make it 1 oscillation per beat. We'll do it with a trill first. Now, let's speak in the language of vibrato. 1 oscillation per beat. And make sure you hear the oscillation. Okay? That is 1 oscillation per beat. Now, notice we're not changing the metronome. We're keeping that at 40. because it's going to get pretty fast quite soon. And practicing vibrato, there's nothing glamorous about it. It's a lot of hard work, okay? It's a lot of hard work. So practice this diligently. And guess what? It may not sound it, but it's all mathematics. As you're seeing right now, I'm dividing that by 1/2, by 1, by 2. Let's see if we can get 2 oscillations in here. 2 oscillations. Okay? Same note. Trill. We have the trill. Now let's get this vibrato talk in there. Okay, so we're getting faster. Getting faster. Let's change it up a little bit. Not only with 3 oscillations, let's change up fingerings. Let's change the position. Okay? Because you will need to be able to do this in all positions, on all strings, with all fingers. Okay? So, let's do first finger, same note. Let's go to 5th position on the D string. 3 oscillations. Now let's talk about the trill first, so we get that concept. We're doing 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. But now, since we're doing with the first finger, and get rid of the other fingers. Get rid of the other fingers. Okay, we're only working with the 1 now. Another thing I want to caution you against doing. You want a pivot, not a polish. I'll say it again. You want a pivot of the finger. Not a polish. Because you will vibrate out of tune, and you will be out of tune. So yes, it is a distortion, but we don't want that kind of distortion. Okay? So we want 3 oscillations once again. Okay? It's all math. Let's go with 4 oscillations. 4 oscillations per beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Math. Okay? So now, let's put that into vibrato language. Using your finger. Get rid of the other fingers. Okay? It's a lot of work. And the thing is, it can be tiring. So it may have to be something that you work on a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. But it's something to build up. It's something to build up. Okay? Let's go to, fourth finger. Fourth finger. Same note. Should we change notes? No. Same note. We'll just do the same note. I know I wanted to do a different string, but we'll do a different string some other time. Same note. Fourth finger. Third position. Same string. Now we're going to do 6 oscillations. 6 oscillations per beat. Six oscillations. And remember, an oscillation is this. That's an oscillation. Okay? That's a complete oscillation. We're doing 6 of them. Okay? So now, let's get rid of the other fingers and speak vibrato language as opposed to trill language. Now it's starting to sound like vibrato. It's starting to sound like vibrato. Okay? But this is something that you're going to have to work up to. Okay? With all 4 fingers on all 4 strings. I said all 4, but all 4 fingers. Because when we get up to here, thumb position, we'll have to work the 3rd finger. Okay? And the vibrato can't come from the arm over here. Can't. It's going to have to come from the finger. Okay? So now, let's try a slightly different note. B on the A string, slightly thicker string. Slightly thicker string than the D string. Let's go back down to 1 oscillation. I won't go back quite that far to 1/2 oscillation. That could be a little catatonic. All right, so 1 oscillation per beat. Two oscillations per beat. How about 3 oscillations per beat? How about 4 oscillations per beat? And 6 oscillations per beat. into vibrato. Okay? Turn it into vibrato. One oscillation on the same note. Okay? And I would say practice that for about 30 seconds to a minute. So you get the motion, get the gentle, controlled rocking. No shimmying, no wiggling, no jiggling. A controlled back and forth. A controlled back and forth. Let's try 2 oscillations. 2 oscillations per beat. No polishing, only pivoting. No polishing, only pivoting. That's it. Okay? How about 3 oscillations per beat? Okay? The other fingers are gone. Okay? You're only working with that particular finger. How about 4 oscillations? It's all math. All math. Okay? How about 6 oscillations? 6 oscillations. Like I said, vibrato's a lot of work. It's not glamorous to work on. It's not. It's a lot of work. Okay? 6 oscillations per beat. And notice that I ended on the note that was slightly flatter for oscillation purposes. But when it turns into this, it's a nice vibrato. Now, vibrato normally happens in triplets, okay? Normally happens like that, okay? So this exercise is meant to work individual fingers on individual strings in different positions, okay? So that's something that you should do. Okay? Let's see what we can do with 4th finger. Maybe 4th finger on the E string, but in my case, this string is tuned to a D. Okay, so let's get rid of these other fingers. We'll try C natural. One oscillation per beat. One oscillation per beat. But first, let's get the trill. Now, let's get the oscillation for vibrato. Okay? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. After you've built that up, then you can put all 4 fingers back on. See, there's no polishing. Leave the polishing for after you stop practicing, so you can clean the fingerboard from your fingerprints. It's only pivoting. Only pivoting. And this is a great exercise to build up the fingers on all 4 strings. Now, how about 2 oscillations per beat? 2 oscillations per beat. You hear the oscillation? That's what you want to hear. That's what you want to hear. You see, once again, vibrato is a small muscle task. Okay? Let's try 3 oscillations per beat. Okay? How about 4? How about 4 oscillations? This is the toughest string to do. The toughest string to do. So you'll want to work up to that. Okay? You want to work up to it. You see what's going on? Not this. That's polishing. We want to pivot. Okay? And lastly, 6 oscillations per beat. 6 oscillations per beat. So you have your original note. That's trill language. Trill language. Let's get vibrato language. And then that should turn into, later on, now it may be a little robotic when you practice with a metronome, but you're building up stamina and control. Stamina and control. Okay? So again, there's no uncontrolled wiggling or shimmying or jiggling. It should all be under control. Okay? So turn that off. Always have your metronome with you when you're practicing these vibrato exercises. Put one finger on while the other fingers are off. Okay? Do it in all the positions, all fingers, from half position all the way up to seventh position. Half position all the way up to seventh position. On all four strings. On all four strings. Okay? And since we've already gone over half position, or should I say thumb position, excuse me. Thumb position, you're already equipped. You're already equipped over here. And you also want to notice that when you're vibratoing, my finger naturally is straight over here, but the other fingers are curved. Okay, they're curved. And again, vibrato should not come from the arm. It should not be generated from the arm. The arm moves residually. Okay? I'll turn around. Some people may want to do this. Too much energy. You want to do this. Let me turn the metronome back on, just as a last note. We'll do 4 oscillations. Bump it up a little bit. We'll do it with the trill. Now, get rid of all the fingers except for the one. In this case, it's going to be second finger. Now, with vibrato. But you don't see this polishing. You see pivoting. Let's try another finger. First finger. Same note, different string. Same amount of oscillations, 4. Get rid of all the other fingers. Not this, but this. Because that's going to turn into one day. That's what you want. You want to use as little energy as possible. Okay, as little energy as possible. Let's go over to the A string with 4th finger. And we'll do vibrato and a trill on F sharp. Okay? On F sharp. And this is in 5th position on the A string. 4 oscillations. Now, get rid of the other 3 fingers. Have 4th finger on F sharp. 4 oscillations. 4 oscillations. oscillations, because then that will turn into okay, that's what that will turn into. And then once you have all the fingers on, and then for a nice expressive vibrato, okay, you hear that? Okay, that's what you want. A nice, expressive, controlled, disciplined rocking back and forth. Okay? So, I want to thank you for joining us. Had a lot of fun today. Learned a lot. We learned everything going all the way up to thumb position, new scales, new positions, and new concepts for vibrato. Once again, no shimmying, no jiggling, no wiggling. All under control, disciplined, rocking back and forth for what will become, if you're patient, a beautiful expression added to your music. Okay? So I want to thank you very much for joining me today and my crew. Okay? Please like, subscribe, share, comment, and hit that notification bell so that you are notified for future videos that will be coming up. And also, this is wonderful education. So if you feel so inclined, please donate. Okay? The link is in the description, and it would help out with other things, such as this. Okay? Again, I'm Dr. Bass. I hope you've gotten my gist. Class